Hello. Today we are going to take a look at the Big Bang Theory that modern cosmology claims to be completely true. A man named Hubble observed that all light rays coming from the stars shift towards their red color, explaining this as the Doppler effect. This can be the evidence that all stars are moving away from the Earth. This led to the theory that the universe is expanding. Also, if everything is expanding, we can reach the inference that the expansion would have started at one point if we went back to the past before it did. Then, someone assumed that the echoes that occurred in these early days of the universe could still be detected, and eventually the wavelengths presumed to be the cosmic background radiation were detected. In this way, the Big Bang Theory began to be recognized as the principle of the birth of the universe. However, there are many problems with the Big Bang Theory. Proponents of this claim that at first, an unimaginable hot fireball exploded. So, where did the energy of the first great explosion come from? According to the laws of thermodynamics, energy cannot be created or destroyed by itself unless there is an external exchange of energy. Could such immense amount of energy be available at the start of an explosive operation on its own without any intervention and purpose? If the Big Bang is correct, it is predicted that the place where the big fireball splattered is still much hotter, but the universe has almost the same temperature over the entire region, and the two ends of the universe are at the same state, though they have never mixed with each other. So cosmologists were worried, and someone came up with the theory that in a very short period of less than a second after the start of the Big Bang, space expanded extremely quickly, growing to almost half the size of the universe today. This is the theory that a full-scale explosion occurred after the temperature was unified, so that most of the area in the universe had the same temperature. Applying this theory seems to have solved many of their problems. This way, the Big Bang Theory overcame all other cosmic theories in the world and established itself as the dominant theory. But there is still a lot of evidence against the Big Bang Theory. According to Einstein's new gravity theory, all light emanating from a star with a strong gravitational force is redshifted. He had the evidence to back it up. According to him, the redshift might not be the evidence that all stars are moving away. Also, depending on the degree of the redshift, there is a lot of error in estimating the distance to the star. In some cases, two closely spaced galaxies have been observed to be more than 10 times of their actual distance. Within a galaxy, each star has different degrees of redshift, and stars with the blue shifts are also observed. Also, the energy generated by the Big Bang is converted into matter. Then the amount of antimatter generated at this time should be equal to all matter in the universe. But only a very small amount of antimatter has been found, which makes them worry. Scientists who support the Big Bang assume that matter did not exist at the beginning of the Big Bang, so a complete galaxy would not have occurred. But it was also revealed that there were well-formed mature galaxies taking part of the early universe, which also puzzled them. Recently, the theory that the distant universe expands more and more rapidly and there is something called dark energy that causes this accelerated expansion has become popular. However, the world has been searching for dark energy and dark matter by all means for more than 30 years, but it has not been found yet. Recently, research conclusions that dark energy does not exist are gaining strength. It is also a big problem that the self monopole is known as the evidence of the Big Bang is not found at all. Here, let's look again at what an explosion is like. Explosions have the property to break and destroy everything. After the explosion, everything that was beautiful and orderly becomes a chaos of disorder and irregular. However, before looking at the entire universe, if we first look at our own solar system, we can observe characteristics that are completely different from explosions. The sun always emits light and heat in a stable and constant manner, and all the planets are always moving in a set path. The moon also revolves around the earth regularly, and we humans have been leading our daily lives that have not changed for thousands of years. Does the theory that such a regular and orderly world was created by a destructive explosion make sense in our common sense? Wouldn't it be more realistic to expect complete chaos and silence from such explosion? If the explosion theory is correct, all matter must be radially in its own direction, be continuously scattered. No explosion can bring the scattered fragments together to create an orderly world. Even if order is established for a while during the process of dispersal, due to the momentum of linear motion, it will eventually be scattered again. This can also be inferred from the shape of the clouds in the sky. Even if the cloud is in the shape of a pretty rabbit or a person for a while, after a few minutes, the shape is gone and everything is scattered and returns to its disorderly form. Spiral galaxy is formed by chance like this. The final result of the Big Bang is to go back to disorder. However, most galaxies have a beautiful spiral or ball shape and repeat very regular rotations. Let's take two galaxies as an example. The Andromeda Galaxy, located 2.5 million light years from the Earth, and the GNZ11 Galaxy, located 13.4 billion light years away. Both have the common spiral shape. The GNZ11 galaxy is 13.4 billion light years away from Earth. So the light that has traveled for 13.4 billion years is now visible to us. Therefore, the shape of this galaxy is the shape of light that began its journey towards us 13.4 billion years ago. Since the Big Bang event occurred 13.8 billion years ago, it can be said that the GNZ11 was created 400 million years after the Big Bang. It can be said that it was created almost at the beginning of the explosion, but the light from the Andromeda is the light that left there only 2.5 million years ago. Therefore, There's a long time difference of 13.3975 billion years between the two galaxies. The GNZ11 light was emitted at a very young age, and the Andromeda light was emitted at an older age until recently. However, both galaxies have the same spiral shape. What can we guess here? Spiral galaxies existed 13.4 billion years ago, are still there, and are everywhere. This means that the galaxies have always been similar in shape, and that the fragments of an explosion don't spin together for a while, then disperse again. It means that it was made to rotate from start to finish. Thus, the universe was not created by explosions. What happens without wisdom is mostly disorderly and irregular. Everything that is orderly and regular is created by a wise being. Even if you put the parts of a watch in a can and shake it for hundreds of hours, it can never be a watch. Only the parts will be mixed up in a disorder. If power is applied without wisdom, regularity will not occur forever. However, a blueprinter or watchmaker can create a complex, sophisticated watch in a short time. So, wouldn't it be more difficult to believe that the sophistication of the universe or human structure arose spontaneously? Those who believe in atheism and the Big Bang Theory first denied God when they began all their research. They presume that the world started on its own, so they want to know how it started. Therefore, they diligently seek to know the origin of the world. Although the Bible has answers for the questions, they do not believe it, so they have a lot of work to do. But if it's true that God created the world, then everything they did during their lifetime would be useless. A lifetime isn't long, but how useless would it be to spend it on something of no value? No matter how we looked at it, the Big Bang Theory still have a long way to go until they can interpret all the many contradictory observations. It would be a good idea to remove the wrong theories from the textbooks in the meantime. Let's look at one important study where creation is presumed to be right. Studies have shown that the speed of light was initially very fast, but now it has slowed down a lot. These conclusions were published in a study by an Australian astronomer, Barry Setterfield, who compared the speed of light 52 times over the past 300 years. He clearly observed that the speed of light gradually slowed compared to the first measured value. It is also confirmed that this value completely exceeds the error range of measuring instrument, so it's difficult to dismiss that it's an incorrect measurement. According to his calculations, light must have been much faster in the past than it is now. Russian space scientist Troitsky also announced that the speed of light is getting slower through various studies. He argued that the redshift of most starlight is not because that the stars are moving away from us, but because of the slowing down of the speed of light. He said that it is estimated that the speed of light from the stars was more than 10 billion times faster 6,000 years ago. If the results of the above two studies are correct, we then can explain how light of the stars billions of light years away had already begun to illuminate the earth at the time of God's creation. You will be able to confirm once again that the record of creation in the Bible is not false. However, Many scientists conclude that it's absolutely impossible for the speed of light to slow down. This is because not only that this violates the laws of thermodynamics, but it also violates various physical calculation formulas that have been revealed so far. Assuming that the speed of light is slowed down, this will cause a huge mess that requires all the physics equations to be corrected. So, is this a sophistry or a possibility that's worth considering? Shall scientific formulas be preeminent, or shall natural phenomena be preeminent? A physical formula is derived by first observing an existing natural phenomenon, then by finding consistency and the principles from it, and finally making an equation to describe it. Should we fix the formulas if they had been known as truth and are found to be against the natural phenomena that they were trying to describe? If these best theories are different from the observations, it is imperative that new theories be formulated to replace them. The solar system and most galaxies rotate, and with this in mind, shouldn't smaller objects behave in a similar way? On closer inspection, it seems that not only are the big ones spinning, but the very small ones are spinning also. If you look at a very small atom, the electrons are orbiting around the nucleus. Also, the electron itself is spinning like a top. And for bigger objects, the moon orbits around the earth. The earth orbits around the sun. And when viewed at maximum magnification, most of the galaxies also revolve. Why is everything in the universe, small or large, all spinning? Isn't this God's creation order to keep the universe most stable? The rotating objects rotate in equilibrium between the centripetal forces pulling each other and the centrifugal forces trying to escape. At this time, the rotating object is trying to escape while continuing its motion, and the electric force or gravity is trying to pull between the two. When these two forces are in equilibrium, rotational motion continues. If the pulling force is strong, it will collapse, and if the force to run away is strong, it will bounce off. The most stable way to prevent atoms, solar systems, and galaxies from tangling, dispersing, or colliding with each other is to rotate at a constant speed. God is responsible for making this rotation and turning at a constant speed. God prefers order to disorder. What God wants is stability and order, not disorder like the Big Bang. You can tell who wrote a written piece by looking at the written font. If you look at the traces of work done in space like this, you will deduce who did it. What is the implication that the smallest and the largest objects are all rotating for stability? Doesn't it look like one almighty being did it? Doesn't the whole universe look like the works of the same powerful being? Made by the same work and habit and the same wisdom that can only be attributed to one who is God. Thank you for watching.